few questions for Mr. David Jacobi. We're going to ask those questions now. Here's one. What's a misconception you had about China before coming here?
A misconception I had about China before coming here is that I was going to stop running into crazy Americans once I left America. The thing about it, like, I thought I would get away from a lot of the craziness, but I've noticed that, like, Beijing is the most normal it can get, because once you leave the big cities, it gets crazier and crazier. Like if you meet an expat that lives in Zebois, chances are he eats people. Like, it just... I've gotten screamed at by someone from North Carolina for being an American. It's absolutely insane.
What's the best thing you've ever, eight. What's the best thing you've ever ate?
What's the best thing I've ever, 7, 8, 9. Best thing I've ever eaten. I was 10 years old and I went to a carnival, and even though I already ate dinner, I saw a food truck that was selling garlic bread with sliced marinated steak and grilled onions and a lot of provolone cheese. It was a foot long, and I was 10 years old, and I ate the whole thing. I spent my ride ticket money on it. It was all, there's no punchline, I just really like that segment.
What's the greatest thing you have ever seen in China?
The greatest thing I've ever seen is I took a job teaching little kids in kindergarten, because, like, the greatest thing about living here is you can always make like 300 quiet an hour teaching a kid to say I like hamburgers. So at the end of like a 6-week course, all these 6-year-olds like sat down to take this written test where they like circle banana and whatever. And the test wasn't made, but I gave all the lessons, but a Chinese person made the test, and they thought it was a great idea to give a 6-year-old a test that was 50 questions long. So 45 minutes into it, the 6-year-old girl just drops her pencil and just starts screaming from the top of her lungs, just screaming like bloody murder. It was the most honest, visceral, beautiful thing I've ever seen. I'm just like, yeah, do it! Like, and her dad's like, no, stop. I'm like, no, let her do this, because this is therapeutic. It was beautiful. She felt so much better after that.
Okay, so your first name's David, your last name's Jacobi. What's your middle name?
Oh, my middle name is Julian. It's a fine name. There's nothing wrong with it.
Okay, we'll take that. What are you afraid of?
I'm afraid. I'm leaving. I'm going away. I'm moving back to the States in July. I'm leaving, June or July. But what I really fear is, like, this is like the end of a movie in which I'm not the main character. So I feel like I'm gonna die right before I leave. Like, it's my biggest. I'm really watching out where I go. I'm watching what I eat, and like, it's so scary living here sometimes, because you never know when you're walking on the sidewalk. Is it gonna open up and you're gonna fall into boiling water? You know, or like getting to a shady business deal with a politician's wife. There's just so many ways you can die here.
This could be a long one. What makes you angry?
I'll keep it down to one. I hate when people get on my ass for not knowing more about politics. Now, I understand politics and I keep up to date, but it's just like, you always meet someone who's into it more than you. It's kind of like a really like indie band, and like, you always find someone who likes it more than you, and you're the asshole. And it's just like, I hate when people are like, how come you don't know more about politics? That's like saying, like, you're in a room and in the corner is this awful monster, and someone goes, hey, you know that monster over there, the 8 feet tall, and he's got bleeding pustules, and like, he's got like 4 arms, and every one of his fingers is this waterlogged, like, diseased penises, and like, he eats children and shits nightmares. How come you don't know what his middle name is? Like, it's just that it feels like that all the time.
It's Julian.
It's Julian. Yeah, I gave up.
Alright, should we play him on?
Let's play him on.
I'll play.
Well, we already heard it.
Like, just play it for 2 seconds. letter to China. So I go in and out. Sometimes I refer to China as China. Sometimes I refer to China as you and as any comedy. Like there's just, I think it's like 99% expat here. So this will work. I've heard some terrible news recently. I heard that Panda Express is coming to China. For people who don't know, Panda Express is a fast food version of Chinese food. It's essentially cafeteria food. Never have I seen people look to all the wrong sources to delegate something that they themselves have perfected. It's like letting your hamster do your physics homework, or Mitt Romney asking Spike Lee how to relate to rich white people. The funny thing is, you can replace Mitt Romney with Kanye West and that joke still makes sense. Panda Express only serves tongsu lidia and stale rice. They fuck up rice. They fuck up rice more harder than Monsanto fucks up rice. It's an engineering snafu. And China's gonna put that here, and you'll all eat there. You'll take your girlfriend there when she asks you to take her somewhere nice, and Pizza Hut is booked up for the night. Which is why I decided to write this, and I really wanted to talk about the Oreo. Can someone please tell me, Vincent, what is an Oreo? Oreo. No, what is, define it. Define Oreo. What's an Oreo?
Black on the outside, white on the inside.
Oh, no, I mean like a literal Oreo. A literal Oreo. Good one. What is an Oreo?
Cookie.
You're wrong. It is not a cookie. People, our culture tells us to tell our brains that it's a cookie, and it's really not a cookie. It's this black disc that's crunchy and kind of sort of resembles something crispy like a cookie. It's not actually chocolate, but it's kind of like not sweet-ish, and it's filled with something in the middle that's supposed to resemble some sort of dairy product. So, and that's the thing, it's not a cookie. And the recipe for the Oreo cookie has been changed for Chinese consumers. It's slightly less sweet because Chinese people like to pretend that they don't eat sweet things. But I kind of pose this idea that instead of changing the recipe to have a little less sugar for Chinese taste buds, wouldn't it have been better if they just changed the recipe of the Oreo to 2 easily definably, unmistakably chocolate cookies holding in a layer of dairy-based cream? China gives us so much. Textiles, plastic toys, lead, kung fu, everything inside of a Walmart except for raw meat and rice just laying out for people to grab. We don't do that in the US, and by the way, that's unhygienic and wrong. Batteries, medical equipment, medical waste, knives, cutting boards, dragon fruit, everything except weak-ass Chinese cars that no one really wants to drive. China gives us everything, and in return, America gives them Oreos, and in many, many different forms. Instead of Joan Jett and Pat Benatar, we gave you Avril Lavigne, who's the Oreo cookie of female solo punk artists. She has nothing to be punk about, she's Canadian. We gave you iPads. You make them, you send them to us, and we send them back to you because fuck efficiency. iPads are worthless Oreos. They do less than what a computer does at almost the same price. I've never seen anyone use an iPad for anything that's not Fruit Ninja. We gave you network news, rampant consumerism, so you too can feel the cyclical sting of fear and consumption. We gave you the restaurant Sizzler. And I think it's hilarious that China didn't immediately tear it down like it was a hutong full of migrant workers to make way for an upscale apartment building that was never going to be fully developed anyway. I saw a man walk into a Sizzler in Beijing. He was wearing a suit. And you don't need to do that. Back home, there's no dress code for Sizzler. In fact, no one goes to Sizzler. We just don't go. In my life, I've just learned to never trust a place that serves a $2 steak. Any place that has a steak that's cheaper than a loaf of bread is a place where homeless people go to fuck in the bathroom. America gave China the idea of out-of-touch, upper-class douchebags, and China really took that and turned the dial to 11. China's done their part to make bigger Oreos out of the ones we give them. This is called double stuffing. We gave you Pizza Hut, which is a place no one should have to go to, and you turned it into a place not only someone would go to, but actually bring their loved ones. What a waste of chandeliers, silk tablecloths, and marble floors to then have to serve a medium-sized hot dog pizza to a table of rich kids who never tasted a pizza without mayonnaise on it. We gave you power ballads, big hair, self-tanner, flavored water for people who don't drink anything without sugar in it because they're fucking babies. Birthday cards, Facebook, Transformers, and all other Oreos that are simply Oreos because somewhere out there, there's a similar version that doesn't suck. And that thing's a Girl Scout cookie. I'm going to tell you the horrible truth. In America, there's something called the Girl Scout cookie. It's only sold about 1 month out of the year by young girls standing outside their nearby supermarket. While not all natural, this array of cookies are indeed actual cookies and contain things like peanut butter, chocolate, mint, coconut, and other things human beings were made to digest. The proceeds from the cookies go to fund recreational activities for the girls, like camping trips or arts and crafts. But some of the money goes to other avenues, like organizations that work very hard to make sure a woman's vagina stays her own property. Girl Scouts in every single way is perfect in taste and execution, and you'll never get them. In fact, in 10 years, maybe we Americans won't be able to get Girl Scout cookies either. Because if there's one thing my country hates more than an uneaten sleeve of Thin Mint cookies, it's liberated, educated, finely tuned vaginas. Girl Scout cookies are rare, but offer a great respite from Oreos. You need them once in a while to remind yourself and offer relief from all the fake chocolatey bullshit that's stuffed down our mouths on a daily basis. So I was walking with Dalka last week, and I was almost killed as usual. I was almost hit by a black knockoff Audi that was driving on the wrong side of the sidewalk. He had tinted windows down and he was checking his email on his iPhone while blasting Westlife. It was the biggest Oreo I've ever seen in my life. It was the Mega Oreo. What made me upset, however, is that there wasn't a Girl Scout cookie to be seen. The one thing that was never hijacked from China, from America, that was never really stolen or bootlegged is this kind of Girl Scout cookie. The one thing I can really say about my country is that you could never really do that on any street in America without a gang of people pulling you out of your car and beating the shit out of you and rolling the car on you for driving on the sidewalk. So yes, America, we are indignant and we are pushy and overbearing, but at least we make our douchebags pay. China has censorship. I'm sorry, harmony. But it also has the Internet Girl Scout cookie, which is this inevitable wave of information, truth, poor spelling, and geriatric pornography. You've got great socks, amazing food, and talented dentists. Even though you've got a weird fetish for a dead leader, you stray for mixing religion with your politics, and that often leads to okay things. I'd feel better about Bo Xilai getting ousted if he wasn't ousted by people who are just bigger assholes than he was. I'd feel better for the... I'll get America too. I'd feel better for the 2012 elections in the US if there was another person to vote for besides Obama. It was just another incarnation of George W. Bush, who was an incarnation of George H.W. Bush, who was an incarnation of Prescott Bush, who was not only instrumental in turning my country's main industry from steel girders to bombs, but is famous for trying to overthrow President Roosevelt in the 20s so he could turn the USA into a fascist state. I'm sorry for not having a punchline there, but fascism, I guess, is only funny if it's not happening to you. And that brings us to fascism, which is actually the strangest Oreo of all. It's the biggest Oreo of all because fascism should not really be an Oreo. It should be something that we spit out of our mouths immediately, yet sometimes we kind of just chew it up because Girl Scout cookies seem a lifetime away. So I guess if I could kind of sort of make a point, it's just that maybe it's okay once in a while to chew on an Oreo, but you should always sometimes look for the Girl Scout cookie, or just remember the biggest truth of all, that sometimes we were just meant to kind of get into the kitchen and make our own fucking cookies. Thank you.